Calling the Colorado Astronomy Net, calling the Colorado Astronomy Net. This is KI0AR. My name is Bernice, and I'll be your net control for this evening's Colorado Astronomy Net. Just a reminder, the 3-minute timeout function is still in effect, so during long transmissions, please allow the repeater systems to reset themselves. Also, please use the word break for emergency or prior to traffic. If there is any emergency or prior to traffic, please go ahead now. Okay, nothing heard. This is KI0AR net control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. This net meets every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 0200 Zulu, on Wednesdays to discuss topics of an astronomical nature, what's up in the night skies for the week, any other special events that may be of interest to the amateur radio astronomy enthusiasts around the world. Also, this is one of the few nets where your check-in does count. I tally up the numbers and send them off to JPL at the end of each month. Counts as part of their outreach to the general public, of which we are a part. So all check-ins are definitely appreciated. I take check-ins several ways. I'll take them over the air, of course. If you have a net logger, that's probably the easiest way, and I won't mess up your call sign when I cut and paste it over into the net logger there. I'll see it pop up and get you logged in right away. I'm also on YouTube this evening. So if you happen to be on YouTube, and you have a call sign, then definitely when you check in there into the chat window, let me know what your call sign so I can get you on there. If you don't have a call sign over on YouTube, that's fine too, because we welcome everybody as well. And but I do like to have a first name and a location, and that can be a city, state, or whatever that you'd like to share. I will also take them over the air as well soon enough, and I will take them via email for anyone that doesn't have access to any of that but are out there listening. You can send an email to ki0ar@ki0ar.com. And just let me know that you're out there listening to the net tonight, whether you have a call sign or not. But again, if you do have a call sign, definitely that's I can get you logged in with that for sure. I'll take check-ins in just a sec. At least I'll acknowledge who I have already. All right, this is KI0AR net control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. And let's see. Well, we got people on the Fireside channel as well, so welcome there. Right now, I'll go ahead and acknowledge Jack, KE0VH, thanks for checking in tonight. Ken, NB7SS, thanks for checking in tonight. Moy, N5ZIQ, thanks for checking in tonight. Roy, KI7PKL, thanks for checking in tonight. And let's see. Mike, let's see. Is that right? KE2FTG, thanks for checking in tonight. Let's see. Don't see anybody else checked in either through NetLogger or over the, or excuse me, NetLogger or on YouTube for right now. But I'll go ahead and take check-ins over the air. Anyone wishing to check in to tonight's Colorado Astronomy Net, please call with your call sign phonetically twice.
Kilo Romeo 4, Juliet, Foxtrot, Romeo, Robert from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kilo, Foxtrot, Golf, Mike, Zero, Uniform, Bravo, GM, Zero. Exam for Central School. Listening and learning as long as I can, but it's getting late. Head off my baby boy shortly, but just checking it. Thank you. I think we had a couple of walkovers.
We certainly did. We certainly did. So I'm going to need some fills there. Looks like I got some new call signs on the list tonight as well. Yeah, let's see. That was. Yeah, okay. First off, let's see. All right, there. Thanks for. Okay, that. Okay, great. So thanks for those that checked in via NetLogger as well. So thanks for that. Because I can get your call signs right off the bat and not mess. Oh, cool. We got Graham and Graham. But right now I'm going to go back to the KR4, the Kilo Romeo 4 station. If you could give me your call sign again phonetically twice, I'd appreciate it. I'll get you on the list. I think that's down in Alabama. Go ahead, KR4 station. Try again.
Thank you. It's Kilo Romeo 4, Juliet, Foxtrot, Romeo, Tuscaloosa. I'm sorry, Robert from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
All right, Robert. Welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net, KR4. JFR, that's a new call on the list, so stand by one. Got several new calls. I like to touch base with my new callers and find out a little bit more about your background interest in astronomy. So that goes for several of you there. Whether you're just starting out or you've been doing it for decades. Again, all the new calls, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. My name is Bernice. That's Bravo, Uniform, Romeo, November, Echo, Sierra, Sierra, and the call sign Kilowatt India 0 Alpha Romeo. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary at the beginning of the month. So hopefully I got another 30 years and we'll see. We got Graham, MM1DEA. Thanks for checking in tonight. And Graham, GM0UUB, also a new call on the list. So Graham number 2, thanks for that. A little slightly different spelling. Appreciate you checking in. Same question for you, so stand by for that. Mike, KO5AOK over on YouTube. Thanks for checking in tonight. And we got K6. Where was it? K6SM. David. Yeah, that's a new call on the list. So welcome to the net. Same question I'll pose for you in just a sec. And Randall, AE7RJ, thanks for checking in tonight. Oh, let's see. Blah, blah, blah. All right, 3 new calls. Again, same question. Your interest, background in astronomy, how long you've been doing it, or are you just here to learn? Well, we're all here to learn. In fact, I've got a very interesting topic. It's a little bit longer topic for this evening, so I may speed things up a little bit, but it's right down our alley, radio and astronomy. So I think you'll find this rather interesting. I certainly did, but it's definitely a longer topic tonight. I'm going to go back to Robert in Alabama, KR4JFR. Good evening to you, Robert. Again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Tell us a little bit about your interest, background in astronomy. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I was just here to learn. I just want to sit back and listen for a while if that's okay with you. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Oh, you bet, Robert, you bet. This is a learning net. In fact, like tell everybody, I learn something new every net, and I've been doing it for 30 years. So every net, just about, for sure there. So there you go. Again, welcome. Stick around. We'll run probably about till about 9 p.m. Mountain, so that's be 11 o'clock. So if you can, stick around. If not, I am doing this on YouTube, so you can always go back and listen to the topic for this evening over on YouTube. You may have to rapid fire through some of it, but definitely like those likes and things like that, and you guys checking up on the YouTube as well, especially if you want to look at the older presentations. Oh, next on the list, Graham in Scotland, GM0UUB. Good evening to you, Graham. Welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Same question, your interest, background in astronomy. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. This is the GM0UUB. And well, I think I put a wee message up there on the game window there on the net logger, just to say I'm just listen, it's kind of getting late, but I'm listening and learning. I love to hear you guys talk about all these various things. I've got a lot of interest in it, but not much expertise. But I hear yourself and the KI0DKL, good friend out there, Rock and Roy, and love to hear all the comments. But having said that, it's just about 2:15 in the morning here in the UK. So all I'm going to do is just listen and learn as long as I can. But I'll be following your feet soon. There we go, sir. Thank you for taking my check, and I really do appreciate that.
All right, Graham, again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Yeah, no worries, no worries. If you need, if your eyes get heavy, definitely understand that. So thanks for that. Let's see. All right, other new call, David in California, K6SM. Good evening to you, David. Welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Same question, your interest, background in astronomy. Go ahead. Okay, and Randall, we got you checked in, AE7RJ, thanks for checking in tonight. And Mark, KF0VXO, thanks for checking in tonight over on YouTube, so thanks for that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the ball rolling. Again, if you happen to be on YouTube or if you have NetLogger, I'll get you checked in, or send me an email, ki0ar@ki0ar.com. I'll check that in a bit to see if there's any responses over there. I'm going to go a little little bit faster than normal tonight, so please bear with me. Definitely any of those other 3 ways to check in, I will check in after the local astronomical news, but right now I want to do the announcements. I publish a monthly astronomy newsletter via email and the World Wide Web. If you wish to subscribe to the email version of my newsletter, please send me an email to ki0ar@ki0ar.com and request to be put on the list. Or you may visit the website at www.ki0ar.com/astro.html. And at the top of the web page is also a spot where you may submit your email address and get subscribed to the email version of the newsletter as well. Or if you don't want to do any of that, just Google my call sign, KI0AR. You'll find a whole bunch of links, including links to the webpage and the newsletter. Speaking of the newsletter that I send via email, I send that in as a PDF in there, and I've had some issues with people receiving that email as spam, so including myself. So I may try next month just including a link to the PDF. If that, maybe in future just sending that, or at least sending a notice that it has been published. We'll see. Or look into another mail service. I'm not sure which, but stay tuned for any changes there if you do subscribe. For those of you who may be interested in flight simulations, you may want to check out Jack, KE0VH's YouTube channel, Captain Jack Flight Sim, CAPNJACKFLTSIM, on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. He starts off about then and finishes when he finally lands. But always fun to ride along in the various aircraft that he's getting most proficient at, for sure. And it's definitely a fun time if you want to sit back, relax, and ride along with some interesting conversations, other flight simmers, some other amateur radio operators as well, and just people that just enjoy doing that kind of thing, for sure. So Jack is over on YouTube now, right now in our channel. So if you have any questions or want to check out his site, you can do that during the net as well. So thanks for that. And Mary, we got you checked in. VE3AOA, thanks for checking in over on YouTube. Appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'll keep an eye on NetLogger there. And let's see, as well as YouTube for now. And see what's going on. No emails yet, so no worry. Okay, NT9A, there we go. We got you on the list, Patrick. Thanks for checking in tonight. All right, I'm going to get into the local astronomical news, then I'll call for more check-ins. Start off, as usual, with the phases of the moon. We're wrapping up February. We had a full moon back on the 1st, a last quarter moon on the 9th. We had a new moon on the 17th. We've got a first quarter moon coming up on the 24th. In fact, if you want to translate those numbers into March, they're going to be pretty close. So get out there and take a look at the first quarter moon tonight if you've got clear skies. Point your telescope right along that terminator of the dividing line between light and dark. You'll see shadows that are lit up or you'll see mountain peaks that are lit up in the shadow, and you'll see craters that are in shadow on the lighter part. Almost looks like a 3D 3D effect, especially at this particular angle right along that terminator. So take a look at that if you can. The moon was at apogee, its farthest point away from the Earth this month, back on the 10th. It was 251,392 miles from Earth. The moon is at perigee tonight. It is closest approach to the Earth this month. It's 229,991 miles from Earth. So actually that first quarter moon is going to be fairly bright. So you may see a little bit more detail if you point your scope up there. All right, Patrick, see your note, so thanks for checking in. All right, planetary highlights for February. Mercury, Venus, and Saturn put on an early evening display in the west, while Jupiter dominates the rest of the night. Jupiter features many events involving its 4 major moons and are well worth chasing down. A remote annular eclipse of the sun occurred on the 17th, visible only from Antarctica. That excerpt, except for the change in tenses there, from Astronomy Magazine, February 2026, page 28. Continuing on with the planets, Mercury. Mercury was at its greatest eastern elongation, about 18 degrees east of the sun, back on the 9th. Mercury will be stationary tomorrow, meaning that it will neither appear to move forward nor backward relative to the background skies. Mercury is now setting about 6:46 p.m. by month's end. So it's actually setting around 7 p.m. right now, just for the next. So be setting a few minutes earlier each night. So take advantage of seeing if you can spot Mercury very low to the west soon after sunset. Mercury moves from a constellation of Capricornus into Pisces, shining at magnitude minus 0.9. Quick tutorial on magnitudes. The magnitude scale is an inverse logarithmic scale, meaning as the numbers increase in magnitude, the apparent brightness of an object decreases by a factor of about 2.5. The dimmest object that the human eye can see is approximately 6 magnitude. Any magnitudes greater than that, you will definitely need binoculars or a telescope to spot. Any magnitudes less than that, you have a chance to see with the naked eye for sure. So a magnitude 5 object is 2.5 times brighter than a magnitude 6 object, while a magnitude 7 object is about 2.5 times dimmer. The best that I can probably do here in Denver on the dimmest object is about 4th magnitude. So we're talking 2.5 squared, brighter than what you can see at the dimmest. So the light pollution around here is just overwhelming. But some of these brighter objects, yeah, I can see with either naked eye or a telescope. And of course, take out your telescope and look at these bright objects to see the detail for sure. Venus is setting around 6:54 p.m. by month's end. Look for Venus low to the west, about 30 minutes after sunset. Venus moves from the constellation of Capricornus into Aquarius, shining at magnitude minus 3.9. And then we have Mars. Mars is rising about 6:09 a.m. by month's end. Look for Mars low to the east in the morning about 30 minutes before sunrise. Mars moves from the constellation of Capricornus into Aquarius, shining at magnitude 1.1. And then we got Jupiter. Jupiter is very easy to spot in the early evening hours. Jupiter is rising about 1 p.m. in the afternoon by month's end. Look for Jupiter towards the east in the early evening. By the time the skies get dark, Jupiter is about 40 degrees above that eastern horizon. Very prominent. It's going to be about the brightest object other than Venus. You'll see Venus very, very low on a very flat western horizon, but Jupiter is quite high once the sun sets. And the skies get a little bit darker. So look for Jupiter early in the evening and then track it across the rest of the sky until it sets in the early hours before dawn. Jupiter is in the constellation of Gemini, shining at magnitude minus 2.5. And when you do take that telescope or those binoculars out, see if you could see those Jovian moons crossing or near or either on either side of the planet Jupiter. With a telescope, you'll see some banding, hopefully. With binoculars, you may see some banding under very steady skies. And hopefully you'll see at least 2 or 3 of the Galilean moons, even with binoculars. With a telescope, the larger the better. An 8-inch telescope, I can pull out about 6, maybe 7 on a good night of Jupiter's moons. But that's tough. With a larger scope, maybe a few more. And one thing about looking at stars and planets through a telescope or binoculars, planets will show up as a discernible disk, while stars show up as pinpoints. However, Venus and Mercury being the exceptions to those disks, you'll see them in crescent phase. So you will never see a full Mercury or a full Venus. So, but definitely interesting when you take a look at those through a telescope for sure. We got Saturn. Saturn is setting about 7:30 p.m. by month's end. Look for Saturn towards the west in the evening sky soon after sunset. Saturn is in the constellation of Pisces, shining at magnitude 1.0. And then we got Uranus. Uranus is setting about 12:15 a.m. by month's end, a little bit after midnight. Look for Uranus to the southwest in the evening. Uranus is in the constellation of Taurus, shining at magnitude 5.7. And Neptune is setting just a few minutes before Saturn this week. Just about 4 minutes before Saturn, 7:27 p.m. So it's actually moved slightly west of Saturn and just above it, probably about the 12:30, 1 o'clock position, about 1 degree above Saturn. Saturn is now in retrograde motion, meaning that it is actually appears to move backwards relative to your background skies. Let's see, Neptune is in the constellation of Pisces, shining at magnitude 7.8. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Continuing, for our dwarf planets, we got Ceres setting about 9:15 p.m. By the end of the month. Ceres can be spotted low to the west following Saturn and Neptune. Ceres moves from the constellation of Cetus into Pisces, shining at magnitude 9.1. And then we got Pluto. Pluto is rising about 5:11 a.m. By month's end. Pluto is lost in the sun's twilight glow for most of the month. It's actually rising about an hour and 20 minutes or so before the sun, so it's still it'll still be fairly, you might be able to spot it, but good luck with that. Pluto's in the constellation of Capricorn, shining at magnitude 15.2. Good luck, as always, good luck at spotting Neptune, Ceres, and Pluto. A large telescope and dark skies will be needed. Pluto, for that large telescope, 12 to 14-inch telescope or larger in diameter mirror to spot that, and lots of patience. So an hour and a half probably won't be long enough, and you may need some photographic assistance with that as well. Okay, Ed, W6RDZ, thanks for that update. Checking in through Echolink. We'll keep an eye on that, but haven't had any other problems through Echolink as well. But we'll, stay tuned for Ed's rocket report coming up shortly. Meteor showers. Major meteor showers skip February altogether. Random or sporadic meteors from ancient streams long since dispersed produce about maybe a half a dozen meteors all told there. Meteors are always best seen after midnight under a dark moonless sky in the run-up to dawn. You're sitting on Earth's leading hemisphere as it orbits the sun, resulting in higher velocities as any cometary detritus enters the atmosphere. Also visible on moonless evenings in February is the zodiacal light. This dim glow, aligned with the ecliptic, extends steeply above the western horizon well after the low arc of the twilight glow has diminished. From completely dark locations, the zodiacal light is almost as bright as the Milky Way. The cone extends upward through Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. A line connecting Mercury and Saturn shows the way. Scan your eyes left and right, and your peripheral vision will pick up the cone-shaped glow. The middle of the month, starting February 6th, is the best time to look. We've kind of missed that. With the bright moon out of the evening sky. Excerpt is from Astronomy Magazine, February 2026, page 29. Unfortunately, we do have the waxing gibbous moon starting tomorrow. And we got the first quarter moon tonight. Doubtful that you're going to see any zodiacal light, but we still have a chance coming up in March as well. Comets. We have Comet C 2024 E1 word shows. We'll be leaving the southern hemisphere, dimming to about 6 magnitude for northern hemisphere observers. Comet word shows is passing from the constellation of Sculptor through Cetus and into Eridanus by the end of the month. And right now, it is definitely in the constellation of Eridanus. So a little bit higher up, so it might be a little bit easier to spot that one, but you'll still need some dark skies because it may be even dimmer than 6 magnitude. And like I said before, we did have an annular solar eclipse occurred on the 17th, and that was only visible from Antarctica. There are probably images there. Actually, there are images out on the net if you want to search for that. And that's it for the local astronomical news. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Okay, looking for more check-ins. We got, oh, that's a new call. KG7CAT, Jennifer. That's a new call on the list, so welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. My name is Bernus, and the call sign Kilowatt India 0 Alpha Romeo. Bernus spelled Bravo Uniform Romeo November Echo Sierra Sierra. always like to touch base with my first-time check-ins and find out a little bit more about your interest, background in astronomy. I've been doing the net here for 30 years, now over 30 years by just a few weeks. But this is a learning net, been learning something every time. So, all levels of experience here, from those who are just starting out wondering what they're looking at, to those that got more experience than I do for sure and can teach me a few tricks. They're out there, that's for sure. Jennifer, welcome. KG7CAT, tell us a little bit about your background interest in astronomy. Go ahead.
Been a long time hobbyist, I guess, just a stargazer, nothing real special. Just always had an interest in the subject.
All right, Jennifer, appreciate it. And again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net, and hopefully we'll learn something for sure. We do have a question and answer session a little bit later on, so if we happen to generate some questions for you, definitely happy to answer. If there's any other topics, we'll definitely, this is a sharing net as well, so participatory net, so I do like to talk with everybody once we go through it. Yes, I am on YouTube as well. For those of you who are on YouTube or have YouTube, and you have to check out early, you may want to check out this particular presentation tonight. I know some of you got 2 chickens in Scotland. No, it's well past your bedtime probably there, but definitely check out the replay of tonight's session over on YouTube for the presentation for sure. Let's see, David, we got you on the list. WE8M, thanks for checking in tonight. And you go by Nasty there, or Robert. N0STY, thanks for checking in tonight over on YouTube there as well. So thanks for that. All right, anybody else wishing to check into tonight's Colorado Astronomy Net, please call with your call sign phonetically twice.
As always.
Okay, we're going to try that again. It was very scratchy on the digital side, on Wires X here. However, I flipped it over right at just the end over to the analog side, and I had as always. So I'm going to switch back to the analog side. So give me a second to do that, and then the station that just finished up with as always, repeat your call, because the first time I heard was just noise. So go ahead again.
Go ahead again. Yes, here's Kilo India 6, Whiskey Papa Kilo, KI6WPK. On All-Star, and listening with interest as always.
Okay, Bill, I got you on the list. KI6 WPK, thanks for checking in tonight. Dave up in Evergreen. AF0AS, thanks for checking in tonight. And then I heard some more scratch. Then I tried that trick again, flipping from digital to analog, and all I got was noise both times. So apologies there. Don't know whether it's a power thing or what have you, or whether it's Echo or Echolink or All-Star. But we'll try again. I'll listen in over on the digital side and see what we get. Otherwise, if I don't get you, I am on NetLogger and also on YouTube, or you can send me an email to ki0ar@ki0ar.com and just let me know you're out there. Okay, another station, just a sec, another station on YouTube, KJ5LNI. Eric, thanks for checking in tonight. That's a new call on the list, so welcome. Welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Question over, if you could, Eric, just a quick note over in the chat window over on YouTube. What your interest background is in astronomy, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing it for decades or somewhere in between. What's your interest background? Go type that over there and I'll pass that along to everybody else. No worries with not having a mic on the rig there, but appreciate you listening in. Okay, I got a long topic tonight, but first what I want to get into is, what am I getting into? ISS passes. For those of you who are interested in ISS passes, you may want to check out this website. www.heavens-above.com. That's www.heavens-above.com. I do recommend you sign up for it, log in and enter in your home coordinates for much more accurate timings of ISS passes over the area. What I like about this particular website is I can click on a particular pass and pull up a nice star chart that I can print out on a nice 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I can see what constellations that it's passing through at the particular time. Most all of the ISS passes over the Denver area are in the early morning hours. This one in particular is on the 1st of March, and you can see over on YouTube the path of this particular ISS pass. It's actually a nice one, passing through towards the north through Ursa Minor, Draco, passing through Cygnus, and on down towards the horizon as well. So that's one thing I like about this particular website, and I can print that out. Oh, okay. Print that out and take it outside and not have to worry about dropping it on the ground, or I can write notes on it, things like that. So there you go. Check out that website, www.heavens-above.com. And that's it for that bulletin. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. All right. From Eric. I'm KG7CAT's OM. All right. And she has been interested in the topic since high school, you betcha, and shows much more about the subject than I, but I still enjoy listening and learning. There you go. Forever a student. Aren't we all? Aren't we all, Eric? So I do appreciate that. All right. I'm going to close that out. And actually, I'm going to do this. Here's the topic for this evening. In just a sec. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. A little bit longer topic for tonight, but definitely an interesting article for those of you who might be IEEE members. You got this in the Spectrum magazine. For those of you who are not, I hope you will enjoy it. The quest to build a radio telescope that can hear the cosmic dark ages. The catch: it will have to be on the moon. Astronomer Jack Burns has spent 4 decades working to place a radio telescope on the moon. The first one is finally scheduled to launch in early 2027. Isolation dictates where we go to see into. Let me, just a sec. I need to adjust. There we go, so I can see my timer. Excuse me. Isolation dictates where we go to see into the far reaches of the universe. The Atacama Desert of Chile, the summit of Mauna Kea in Hawaii, the vast expanse of the Australian outback. These are where astronomers and engineers have built the great observatories and radio telescopes of modern times. The skies are usually clear, the air is arid, and the electronic din of civilization is far away. It was one of these places in the high desert of New Mexico that a young astronomer named Jack Burns went to study radio jets and quasars far beyond the Milky Way. It was 1979. He was just out of grad school, and the Very Large Array, a constellation of 28 giant dish antennas on an open plain, was a new mecca of radio astronomy. But the VLA had its limitations, namely that Earth's protective atmosphere and ionosphere blocked many parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. And that, even in a remote desert, earthly interference was never completely gone. Could there be a better, even lonelier place to put a radio telescope? Sure, a NASA planetary scientist named Wendell Mendel told Burns. How about the moon? He asked if Burns had ever thought about building one there. My immediate reaction was no, maybe hell no. Why would I want to do that, Burns recalls with a self-deprecating smile. His work at the VLA had gone well. He was fascinated by cosmology's big questions, and he didn't want to be slowed by the bureaucratic slog of getting funding to launch a new piece of hardware. But Mendel suggested he do some research and speak at a conference on future lunar observatories, and Burns's thinking about a space-based radio telescope began to shift. That was in 1984. In the 4 decades since, he's published more than 500 peer-reviewed papers on radio astronomy. He's been an advisor to NASA, the Department of Energy, and the White House, as well as a professor and a university administrator. And while doing all that, Burns has had an ongoing second job of sorts as a quietly persistent advocate for radio astronomy from space. And early next year, if all goes well, a radio telescope for which he's a scientific investigator will be launched. Not just into space, not just to the moon, but to the moon's far side, where it will observe things invisible from Earth. You can see we don't lack for ambition after all these years, says Burns, now 73 and a professor emeritus of astrophysics at the University of Colorado Boulder. The instrument is called LUSEE-NIGHT, short for Lunar Surface Electromagnetics Experiment Night. It will be launched from Florida aboard a SpaceX rocket and carried to the moon's far side atop a squat 4-legged robotic spacecraft called Blue Ghost Mission 2, built and operated by Firefly Aerospace of Cedar Park, Texas. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net, continuing. Landing will be risky. Blue Ghost 2 will be on its own in a place that's out of the sight of ground controllers. But Firefly's Blue Ghost 1 pulled off the first successful landing by a private company on the moon's near side in March 2025. And Burns has already put hardware on the lunar surface, albeit with mixed results. An experiment he helped conceive was on board the lander called Odysseus, built by Houston-based Intuitive Machines in 2024. Odysseus was damaged on landing, but Burns' experiment still returned some useful data. Burns says he'd be bummed about the 2024 mission if there weren't so many more coming up. He's joined in proposing myriad designs for radio telescopes that could go to the moon. And he's kept going through political disputes, technical delays, even a confrontation with cancer. Finally, the effort is paying off. We're getting our feet into the lunar soil, says Burns, and understanding what is possible with these radio telescopes in a place where we've never observed before. Why go to the far side of the moon? A moon-based radio telescope could help unravel some of the greatest mysteries in space science. Dark matter, dark energy, neutron stars, and gravitational waves could all come into better focus if observed from the moon. One of Burns' collaborators on Lucy Night, astronomer Greg Hallinan of Caltech, would like such a telescope to further his research on electromagnetic activity around exoplanets, a possible measure of whether these distant worlds are habitable. Burns himself is especially interested in the cosmic dark ages, an epoch that began more than 13 billion years ago, just 380,000 years after the Big Bang. The young universe had cooled enough for neutral hydrogen atoms to form, which trapped the light of stars and galaxies. The Dark Ages lasted between 200 million and 400 million years. It's a critical period in the history of the universe, says Burns, but we have no data from it. The problem is that residual radio signals from this epoch are very faint and easily drowned out by closer noise. In particular, our earthly communications networks, power grids, radar, and so forth. The sun adds its share too. What's more, these early signals have been dramatically redshifted by the expansion of the universe. Their wavelengths stretched as their sources have spread away from us over billions of years. The most critical example is neutral hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, which when excited in the laboratory emits a radio signal with a wavelength of 21 centimeters. Indeed, with just some backyard equipment, you can easily detect neutral hydrogen in nearby galactic gas clouds close to that wavelength, which corresponds to a frequency of 1.42 gigahertz. But if the hydrogen signal originates from the dark ages, those 21 centimeters are lengthened to tens of meters. That means scientists need to listen to frequencies well below 50 megahertz, parts of the radio spectrum that are largely blocked by Earth's ionosphere. Which is why the lunar far side holds such appeal. It may just be the quietest site in the inner solar system. It really is the only place in the solar system that never faces the Earth, says David DeBoer, a research astronomer at the University of California, Berkeley. It really is kind of a wonderful, unique place. For radio astronomy, things get even better during the lunar night when the sun drops beneath the horizon and is blocked by the moon's mass for up to 14 Earth days at a time. A spot on the moon's far side is about as electromagnetically dark as any place in the early inner solar system can be. No radiation from the sun, no confounding signals from Earth. There may be signals from a few distant space probes, but otherwise, ideally, your antenna only hears the raw noise of the cosmos. When you get down to those very low radio frequencies, there's a source of noise that appears that's associated with the solar wind, says Caltech's Hallinan. Solar wind is the stream of charged particles that speed relentlessly from the sun, and the only location where you can escape that within 1 billion kilometers of the Earth is on the lunar surface, on the nighttime side. The solar wind screams past it, and you get a cavity where you can hide away from that noise. How does Lucy Knight work? Lucy Knight's receiver looks simple, though there's really nothing simple about it. Up top are 2 dipole antennas, each of which consists of 2 collapsible rods pointing in opposite directions. The dipole antennas are mounted perpendicular to each other on a small turntable, forming an X when seen from above. Each dipole antenna extends to about 6 meters. The turntable sits atop a box of support equipment that's a bit less than a cubic meter in volume. The equipment bay, in turn, sits atop the Blue Ghost 2 lander, a boxy spacecraft about 2 meters tall. It's a beautiful instrument, says Stuart Bale, a physicist at the University of California, Berkeley, who is NASA's principal investigator for the project. We don't even know what the radio sky looks like at these frequencies without the sun in the sky. I think that's what Lucy Knight will give us. The apparatus was designed to serve several incompatible needs. It had to be sensitive enough to detect weak signals from deep space, rugged enough to withstand the extremes of the lunar environment, and quiet enough to not interfere with its own observations, yet loud enough to talk to Earth via relay satellites as needed. Plus, the instrument had to stick to a budget of about $40 million US and not weigh more than 120 kilograms. The mission plan calls for 2 years of operation. This is KI0AR net control for the Colorado Astronomy Net continuing. The antennas are made of a beryllium copper alloy chosen for its high conductivity and stability as lunar temperatures plummet or soar by as much as 250 degrees C every time the sun rises or sets. Lucy Knight will make precise voltage measurements of the signals it receives using a high impedance junction field effect transistor to act as an amplifier for each antenna. The signals are then fed into the spectrometer, the main science instrument, which reads those voltages at 102.4 million samples per second. That high read rate is meant to prevent the exaggeration of any errors as faint signals are amplified. Scientists believe that a cosmic dark ages signature would be 5 to 6 orders of magnitude weaker than the other signals that Lucy Knight will record. The turntable is there to help characterize the signals the antennas receive so that, among other things, an ancient dark ages signature can be distinguished from closer, newer signals from, say, galaxies or interstellar gas clouds. Data from the early universe should be virtually isotropic, meaning that it comes from all over the sky, regardless of the antenna's orientation. Newer signals are more likely to come from a specific direction, hence the turntable. If you collect data over the course of a lunar night, then reorient the antennas and listen again, you'll be better able to distinguish the distant from the very, very distant. What's the ideal lunar landing spot? If you want to take, what's the ideal lunar landing spot if you want to take such readings? One as nearly opposite Earth as possible on a flat plane. Not an easy thing to find on the moon's hummocky far side, but mission planners pored over maps made by lunar satellites and chose a prime location about 24 degrees south of the lunar equator. Other lunar telescopes have been proposed for placement in the permanently shadowed craters near the moon's south pole. Just over the horizon when viewed from Earth, such craters are coveted for the water ice they may hold and the low temperature in them, below minus 240 degrees C, are great if you're doing infrared astronomy and need to keep your instruments cold, but the location is terrible if you're working in long wavelength radio. Even the inside of such craters would be hard to shield from Earth-based radio frequency interference, or RFI, signals. Leon Koopmans of the University of Groningen in the Netherlands said in an email, "They refract off the crater's rims and often, due to their long wavelength, simply penetrate right through the crater rim. RFI is a major and sometimes maddening issue for sensitive instruments." The first ever landing on the lunar far side was by the Chinese Chang'e 4 spacecraft in 2019. It carried a low-frequency radio spectrometer, among other experiments, but it failed to return meaningful results, Chinese researchers said, mostly because of interference from the spacecraft itself. The accidental birth of radio astronomy. Sometimes, though, a little interference makes history. Here, it's worth a pause to remember Carl Jansky, considered the father of radio astronomy. In 1928, he was a young engineer at Bell Telephone Laboratories in Holmdel, New Jersey, assigned to isolate sources of static in shortwave transatlantic telephone calls. 2 years later, he built a 30-meter-long directional antenna, mostly out of brass and wood. And after accounting for thunderstorms and the like, there was still noise he couldn't explain. At first, its strength seemed to follow a daily cycle, rising and sinking with the sun. But after a few months' observation, the sun and the noise were badly out of sync. It gradually became clear that the noises period wasn't 24 hours. It was 23 hours and 56 minutes, the time it takes Earth to turn once relative to the stars. The strongest interference seemed to come from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, which optical astronomy suggested was the center of the Milky Way. In 1933, Jansky published a paper in Proceedings of the Institute of Radio Engineers with a provocative title, Electrical Disturbances Apparently of Extraterrestrial Origin. He had opened the electromagnetic spectrum up to astronomers. Even though he never got to pursue radio astronomy himself, the interference he had defined was to him star noise. 32 years later, two other Bell Labs scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, ran into some interference of their own. In 1965, they were trying to adapt a horn antenna in Holmdel for radio astronomy, but there was a hiss in the microwave band coming from all parts of the sky. They had no idea what it was. They ruled out interference from New York City, not far to the north. They rewired the receiver, they cleaned out bird droppings in the antenna, nothing worked. Meanwhile, an hour's drive away, the team of physicists at Princeton University under Robert Dicke was trying to find proof of the Big Bang that began the universe 13.8 billion years ago. They theorized that it would have left a hiss in the microwave band coming from all parts of the sky. They'd begun to build an antenna. Then Dick got a phone call from Penzias and Wilson looking for help. "Well, boys, we've been scooped," he famously said when the call was over. Penzias and Wilson had accidentally found the cosmic microwave background, or CMB, the leftover radiation from the Big Bang. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Continuing. Burns and his colleagues are figurative heirs to Jansky, Penzias, and Wilson. Researchers suggest that the giveaway signature of the cosmic dark ages may be a minuscule dip in the CMB. They theorize that dark ages hydrogen may be detectable only because it has been absorbing a little bit of the microwave energy from the dawn of the universe. The moon is a harsh mistress. The plan for Blue Ghost Mission 2 is to touch down soon after the sun has risen at the landing site. That will give mission managers 2 weeks to check out the spacecraft, take pictures, conduct their experiments that Blue Ghost carries, and charge Lucy Knight's battery pack with its photovoltaic panels. Then, as local sunset comes, they'll turn everything off except for the Lucy Knight receiver and a bare minimum of support systems. There in the frozen electromagnetic stillness, it will scan the spectrum between 0.1 and 50 megahertz, gathering data for a low-frequency map of the sky, maybe including the first tantalizing signatures of the Dark Ages. It's going to be really tough with that instrument, says Burns, but we have some hardware and software techniques that we're hoping will allow us to detect what's called the global or all-sky signal. We, in principle, have the sensitivity. They'll listen and listen again over the course of the mission. That is, if their instrument doesn't freeze or fry first. A major task for Lucy Knight is to protect the electronics that run it. Temperature extremes are the biggest problem. Systems can be hardened against cosmic radiation, and a sturdy spacecraft should be able to handle the stresses of launch, flight, and landing. But how do you build it to last when temperatures range from 120 and minus 130 degrees C? With layers of insulation, electric heaters to reduce nighttime chill. All of the above, says Burns. To reject daytime heat, there will be a multi-cell parabolic radiator panel on the outside of the equipment bay to keep warm at night. There will be battery power, a lot of battery power of Lucy Knight's launch mass, about 108 kilograms, about 38 kilograms is a lithium-ion battery pack with a capacity of 7,160 watt-hours, mostly to generate heat. The battery cells will recharge voltaically after the sun rises. The all-important spectrometer has been programmed to cycle off periodically during the 2 weeks of darkness so that the battery's state of charge doesn't drop below 8%. Better to lose some observing time than lose the entire apparatus and not be able to revive it. Lunar radio astronomy for the long haul. And if they can't revive it, Burns has been through that before. In 2024, he watched helplessly as Odysseus, the first U.S.-made lunar lander in 50 years, touched down, and then went silent for 15 agonizing minutes until controllers in Texas realized they were receiving only occasional pings instead of detailed data. Odysseus had landed hard, snapping a leg and ending up lying almost on its side. As part of its scientific cargo, Odysseus carried ROLS, R-O-L-S-E-S-1, radio wave observations on the lunar surface of the photoelectron sheath, an experiment Burns and a friend had suggested to NASA years before. It was partly a test of technology, partly a study of complex interactions between sunlight, radiation, and lunar soil. There's enough electric charge in the soil sometimes that dust particles levitate above the moon's surface, which could potentially mess with radio observations. But Odysseus was damaged badly enough that instead of a week's worth of data, ROLS got 2 hours, most of it recorded before the landing. A grad student working with Burns, Joshua Hibbard, managed to partially salvage the experiment and prove that ROLS had worked. Hidden in its raw data were signals from Earth and the Milky Way. It was a harrowing experience, Burns said afterwards, and I've told my students and friends that I don't want to be first on a lander again. I want to be second so that we have a greater chance to be successful. He says he feels good about Lucy Knight being on the Blue Ghost 2 mission, especially after the successful Blue Ghost 1 landing. The ROLS experiment, meanwhile, will get a second chance. ROLS 2 has been scheduled to fly on Blue Ghost Mission 3, perhaps in 2028. If Lucy Knight succeeds, it will doubtless raise questions that require much more ambitious radio telescopes. Burns, Hallinan, and others have already gotten early NASA funding for a giant interferometric array on the moon called FarView. And that picture is on YouTube right now. It would consist of a grid of 100,000 antenna nodes spread over 200 square kilometers made of aluminum extracted from lunar soil. They say assembly could begin as soon as the 2030s, although political and budget realities may get in the way. Through it all, Burns says gently pushed and prodded and lobbied, advocating for a lunar observatory through the terms of 10 NASA administrators and 7 U.S. presidents. He's probably learned more about Washington politics than he ever wanted. American presidents have a habit of reversing the space priorities of their predecessors, so missions have sometimes proceeded full force, then languished for years. With Lucy Knight finally headed for launch, Burns at times sounds buoyant. Just think, we're actually going to do cosmology from the moon. At other times, he's been blunt. None of us thought it would take 40 years. Like anything in science, there's no guarantee, says Burns, but we need to look. And that is it for the bulletin for this evening. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Okay, I hope you did find that interesting. Rather long, but I was thinking about doing that as a two-parter, but decided to just present it all for you guys, and hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Again, that article is from the IEEE Spectrum magazine, February 2026 issue. All right, this is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. I'm going to go ahead and call on Ed, W6RDZ, for this evening's rocket report. W6RDZ, Ed, go ahead with the rocket report, please. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net.
This is W6RDZ, your rocket man, with tonight's rocket report. Wow, that was a great article there on the Blue Ghost 2 mission. Definitely, Blue Ghost 1 was a spectacular success. And, yeah, hats off to Firefly Aerospace there. They're going to be testing their rocket, the Alpha rocket here in the next week. So we're looking forward to that. All right, I'm going to kick it back to you for an audio check and see how my audio is reaching. W6RDZ back to Burns.
Ed, you are solid copy. No problems at all. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Go ahead.
All right, this is Ed, W6RDZ, with tonight's rocket report. It's going to be somewhat short, and that does tail well with that wonderful article. All right, last week's launches. We've had a lot of big news this week, but we're going to start with the launches. We had 4 local launches last week, all SpaceX Falcon 9 Starlink shots. First one went up, launched Thursday. That was Starlink Group 10-36, launching out of Cape Canaveral. Then on Saturday, Starlink Group 1725 launched from Split 4E, Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, and that was SpaceX's 600th successful Falcon 9 launch and mission. And so that brings us to the third, later Saturday. We had Starlink Group 6-104 set a booster radius record when it launched from Slick 4 to Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. That was booster B 1067 that flew successfully for the Bahamas. Go Falcon 9, go SpaceX. Okay. Fourth launch occurred just this afternoon at 16:07 Mountain Standard Time. Starlink Group 6-1 can successful launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida. It was the 40th orbital launch attempt of 2026. Excuse me, I got an error there in my report. 2026. I'm going to reset the repeater there. All right, W6RDZ back with the rocket report. If you're interested in watching any of those launches, there are links there in the online rocket report. You can watch those on YouTube. Upcoming launches next week. Okay, first one was pushed back from Sunday. SpaceX now intends to launch Starlink Group 17-26 from Slick 4E Vandenberg Space Force Base. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, 25th at 07:12 Mountain Standard Time. Second launch is also was postponed from last week. I think it's now docketed to launch tomorrow. Yeah, Wednesday, February 25th at 1400 Mountain Standard Time. Yeah, that would be if the launch is not a nice mission on an Electron rocket. That's Rocket Lab doing the launch here, departing. That's going to depart LC-2, Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The planned trajectory is suborbital, part of the HASTE program, and part of the military's DART-AE hypervelocity scramjet technology demonstration. All right, that brings us up to the third launch. Next week, look for SpaceX to launch Starlink Group 6-108 from Cape Canaveral. That on Friday, February 27th at 02:52 Mountain Standard Time. All right, then that brings us up to the Firefly launch. That was delayed again. Firefly intends now to launch the Alpha Block 1 rocket from Slick 2W Vandenberg Space Force Base, California. That's on Friday, February 27th at 17:50 Mountain Standard Time. This will be the Stairway to 7 mission, the 7th test flight of Firefly's Alpha rocket. The two-stage small satellite launch vehicle can place about 1,000 kilograms into low Earth orbit. This will be the last launch of the Block 1 configuration. The next launch after this, the 8th Alpha Firefly test, will be the upgraded Block 2 configuration, including a 7-foot increase to the rocket length. We'll reset here. W6RDZ back with the rocket report for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Fifth launch of the week, China Aerospace and Science Corporation, JASIC. They are scheduled to launch along March 7A from LC-201 Wenchang Space Launch Site in China. No earlier than February, so sometime before the end of February we expect this launch. All right, later on Sunday, March 1st at 17:01 Mountain Standard Time, SpaceX intends to launch Starlink Group 10-41 from Slick 40 Cape Canaveral. And that's it for next week's launches, at least they're on the docket so far. And that brings us up to launch news. We're going to start with the Artemis 2 moon mission saga. Yeah, that's a big one. And sorry, oh my, we're not launching Artemis 2 until the first week of April now. Oh yeah, that's a disappointment. On last Thursday, February 16th, the Artemis 2 second wet dress rehearsal came off as nearly a complete success. Just small problems such as ground communications and the like. There were no showstoppers. Those pesky hydrogen lakes were fixed and tested. By Friday, the test results were reviewed and the approval was given to launch the crew of 4 to the moon on March 6th. The launch conference was held, congratulations were shared, and the 4 person crew went back into quarantine. We're going to reset the repeater here. W6RDZ back with the rocket report. But come Saturday morning, all that had changed just overnight, and now we are shooting for an early April launch. NASA Chief Jared Isaacman announced on Saturday the giant rocket must be rolled back to the vehicle assembly building to fix a new problem. The new issue arrived during additional ground operations Friday evening when data showed an interruption in helium flow to the internal cryogenic, I don't know why I had trouble with that word. Right there, cryogenic propulsion stage of the upper stage. The massive 320-foot rocket will have to be towed off the launch pad back 4 miles to the DAD for assessment, diagnosis, and repair. The inability to recharge the upper stage helium tank could have multiple causes. However, suspicion falls on a sticky valve that caused the same problem with Artemis 1. Deja vu, Artemis 2, Artemis 1 all over again. The next launch window opens in early April on April 1st, yep, April Fool's Day, and continues for June 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. No word on the launch window in June or July. All right, we're going to reset the repeater here. W6RDZ back with tonight's rocket report. Second big news item this week is at a news conference on Thursday, NASA released a scathing 300-page report for the Boeing CTS-100 Starliner crew test flight debacle. Just as a refresher of that, the Boeing Starliner was launched on June 5th, 2024. The first Starliner to launch with the crew, NASA crew Butch Wilmore and Sue Williams. The mission was originally planned to last for 8 to 14 days. The Starliner suffered multiple anomalies, including helium leaks and RCS thruster failures, that on docking approach to the ISS, which eventually lost its 6 degrees of control and become basically uncontrollable. Ground control was eventually able to return some thrusters to service, and which was able to manually dock the alien spacecraft to the ISS. After weeks of delay, the Starliner was deemed unsafe for a crew return to the ISS. The Boeing Starliner returned to Earth empty, while Butch and Sonny spent 8 months in orbit on the ISS, waiting for a ride home on a SpaceX Dragon crew spacecraft. Reset the repeater. W6RDZ back with the rocket report. For Thursday's report, NASA has now classified the test flight as a Type A mishap. There were no injuries. This highest classification recognizes the potential for significant mishaps, the large financial cost of the misadventure. The investigators identified an interplay of combined hardware failures, qualification gaps, leadership missteps, and cultural breakdown that created risk inconsistent with NASA's human space flight safety standards. Note that both the Challenger and the Columbia disasters fall into the Class A category. There are links to more information in the online report. All right, we're going to reset the repeater.
W6RDZ, this is KI0AR. We just lost you there. Are you done? Go ahead. This is KI0AR Net Control for Colorado Astronomy Net. Okay, we lost Ed there for a sec. I will go ahead and finish up. I think he did just, yeah, he said that the Columbia and Challenger were Class A categories. The third and final news item, Starship update. This week, SpaceX conducted a successful full deluge test of Launchpad 2. The FAA released a finding of no significant impact, or FONSI, from the recent environmental assessment of additional launch trajectories and landing corridors for Starship. This paves the way for stacking and static test firing of Flight 12. Work continues to rebuild Pad 1. Booster 19 has not been seen in a while, but that's a good thing as it indicates progress installing the 33 Raptor engines. No March launch date for Flight 12 yet. And that is it for tonight's rock report. Yeah, I got that, Ed. So I just finished up your report for you. No worries. Rocket Mad Ed wishes you a good night and nominal flight. Now back to Starman Burness, KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Thanks for that, Ed. We did have a long topic for tonight. I don't see any other check-ins other than Abraham W6ABE. Thanks for checking in tonight. I'll make one call for more check-ins, and then we'll go down the list. It may be a quick travel down the list tonight. Everybody gets about a minute. Anyone else wishing to check in to tonight's Colorado Astronomy Net, please call with your call sign phonetically twice.
6 VAY, KM6 VAY, in Colorado Springs. You got me, Brent?
All right, Stephen, I got you. KM6VAY, thanks for checking in tonight. All right, now's the time for everyone else to contribute to the net. Questions, comments, observation reports, anything you'd like to share with the net tonight, now's the time to do it. Especially, I'm looking for, any comments, especially questions and comments for our new check-ins as well. Hopefully you guys stuck around. Graham in Scotland may not have, our two Grahams in Scotland may not have. First on the list tonight is Jack, KE0VH. Good evening to you, Jack. What do you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Yeah, Burgess, good evening around the net. Thanks, everybody, for being part of Skyhub Link. Don't forget, if you have not, be sure to check our website, skyhublink.com. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, always hit that thumbs up button for us, Starman Burness there. Burness, nothing astronomical. We'll be doing another flight tomorrow night in the simulator on my YouTube channel. And we'll probably be flying into some bad weather in the Northeast in a 737 MAX, or maybe even the 777. We'll see which one I decide between now and then. I've got some work to do at a transmitter site tomorrow, so we'll get in the afternoon and get set up for that. But anyway, thanks everybody for participating in Skyhub Link. If you've not become part of our email list yet, you can do so on the Skyhub Link webpage and get all of the news and information. We don't kill your email boxes with a lot of stuff, but do let you know about things on occasion, and what's going on with the system, and new repeaters such as the new one up in Sterling. So we're glad to have that operating now, and looking forward to raising its antenna up and increasing its coverage a little bit later here in the summer. Anyway, Bernice, with that, back to you. Once again, I'll be live streaming tomorrow night at 6:30 on my YouTube channel, and we'll talk to you later. Bernice, we'll talk about that satellite dish too. We're going to have to put it off for tomorrow because of high winds and snow and so on and so forth. Anyway, there you go. Have a good night, everybody. 7-3 from Wheat Ridge, Colorado. This is KE0VH.
All right, Jack, thanks for that. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. And definitely those of you check out Jack's YouTube flight sim tomorrow evening, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Oh, let's see. Yeah, Jack, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Appreciate that. Next on the list is Ken out in Nevada, NV7SS. Good evening to you, Ken. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening there, Bernice, NV7SS here in Indian Springs. Where it's been cloudy every night, I'll tell you, there's no observation happening here, I'll tell you. But hopefully this next week it's supposed to be nice and clear, and we're even supposed to get 80 degrees this week, so we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, Bernice, thanks for being there. Very interesting night tonight, I'll tell you. It was interesting to hear that. Anyway, you take care, Bernice, and we'll see you next week. This is NV7SS, back to the net. Thanks again for being there, Bernice.
All right, Ken, I appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Yeah, that was interesting. I saw that article. It says, you know, I don't care how long it is. I've got to share it with you guys. We had a little bit of history there and a little bit of future there. So, and radio and astronomy. I can't go wrong with that one, that's for sure. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is Moy down in Texas, N5ZIQ. Good evening to you, Moy. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
It sounds like you heard you doing there, Bernice. Everything is going okay down here in Texas. And don't have any comments tonight. Just want to say it's 30 degrees, and thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it, sir. That was a great report. Have a nice one. 73, 65, ZIQ.
All right, Moy, thanks for that. Doing well here in Colorado, enjoying the early spring weather or mid-spring weather, maybe even late spring. Who knows? This was 70+ degrees here in Colorado. Shorts and short sleeves weather today. While the East Coast is getting hammered. My wife's from Rhode Island, and they're getting 2 feet of snow. In Newport there, so send it there our way, but I don't think we're going to get any of it. All right, Moy, appreciate your comments, appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is Roy up in Oregon, KI7PKL. Good evening to you, Roy. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Well, good evening, Bruce, and everybody on the net. And what can I say? Clouds, rain, wind, more clouds and rain. But it must be that time of year. But oh boy, when it clears up again, it's just going to be awesome. We've been waiting a long time. Back to you, guys. Have a free tail.
All right, Roy. Yeah, I know. Having spent a year and a half up in the Seattle area, those starry nights are few and far between for sure. So good luck with that. Hopefully you'll get some observing in with your new equipment. I know you want to get out there and do some more of that with that as well. But appreciate your comments and appreciate you checking in tonight. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Next on the list is, let's see, over on YouTube, Mike, KE2FTG. Good evening to you, Mike. If you've got any comments or anything you'd like to pass along, post it over in the YouTube channel. That goes for all of you on the YouTube side. Questions, comments, and observation reports, if you want to post that into the chat, I will pass that along to everybody else. Those that can't check in over the air, I'll pass that along to everybody else tonight. Next on the list is Robert down in Alabama, KR4JFR. Good evening to you, Robert. Again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. Okay, we got the two Grahams in Scotland. I don't know, it's almost 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. their time. We'll call on them anyway, see if they're still there. Graham, MM1DEA, good evening to you, Graham, in Scotland. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. We'll check on the other Graham. Graham, GM0UUB. Good evening to you, Graham. Again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. Next on the list is Mike over on YouTube in Oklahoma, KO5AOK. Mike, if you've got any comments you'd like to share, go ahead over there on YouTube, but definitely appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is David out in California, K6SM. Good evening to you, David. Welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. All right, David, appreciate you checking in tonight. Again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. Next on the list is Randall up in Washington, AE7RJ. Good evening to Randall. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Sadly, I don't have anything for that. Y'all have a good evening. AE7RJ.
No worries, Randall. Just being here and checking in. That works for me, that's for sure. Hey, Randall, appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Next on the list is Mark out in Crook, KF0VXO. Checked in over on YouTube, but sometimes it's on the air as well, so I'll give you a call, Mark. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. And Mary up in Ontario, VE3AOA, she checked out earlier, but always appreciate her checking in as well via YouTube. So next on the list, let's see, Patrick checked in and out, NT9A, so thanks for that, Patrick. Next on the list is Ed in Broomfield, W6RDZ. Good evening to you, Ed. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead. We lost Ed. All right. Next on the list is Jennifer in Arkansas. KG7CAT. Good evening to Jennifer. Oh, again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. All right, Jennifer, do appreciate you checking in tonight and your earlier comments as well. Next on the list is Robert, N0STY. Good evening to Robert up in Wyoming. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead. Over on YouTube. If you've got anything, post over there. Go ahead. And Stan, we got you checked in. VE3PSE, not too far away, Stan. So you're just not too far from, we're getting close to the bottom of the list. So thanks for checking in tonight. Next on the list is David in Ohio, WE8M. Good evening to you, David. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Good evening, Vernon. KI0AR, this is WE8M. I haven't really been doing any observing lately. I'm sort of in winter hibernation mode where the skies are either too cloudy, it's too cold, or too much moon in the sky to set up. So I'm hoping I can get something out to do some observing in the next few weeks, but I'm out here in southern Ohio. It's not very bloody likely. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. WE8M, back to that.
All right, David, no worries. No worries. Just appreciate you checking. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. David, I did have a question. I'm heading back to Dayton in May for the Dayton Hamvention, and looking for a substitute net controller for that period of time. Think about it. Let me know. Unless, of course, we'll do an eyeball QSO at the Hamvention there. So I'll have to find someone else. But just in case, just putting that bug in your ear. So, but appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is Bill out in San Francisco. KI6WPK. Good evening to you, Bill. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead. All right. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. Next on the list is Dave up in Evergreen, AF0AS. Good evening to you, Dave. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
We just got a notice today from SpaceX that they have a second transport opportunity from their production site out to Massey for testing. This could be the first appearance of Starship 39, which would be the Flight 12 Starship, for its biotesting. That's sort of interesting. We also got notice from the FCC through START that they're applying for a temporary license for Starlink Comlink for the next mission, or maybe the mission after, starting in April, with a bunch of 10, 14, 19, and 20, 70 gig transmitters on the Starlink. Those sound like pretty normal Starlink frequencies, ranging from 1 watt to 35 watts actual power, but their ERPs are absolutely scary. The 70 gigahertz is like 5 watts actual and 1 megawatt ERP. That was sort of interesting incentive they're looking at there on the microwave frequencies. The other interesting one was I was out in Orlando on Thursday for the wedding that I had to go to this week, and got to see Starlink 11-36 launch out of Cape Canaveral while I was sitting on the lagoon at Epcot getting ready for the evening fireworks display. Right before the fireworks display, there goes a beautiful Falcon launch right off the horizon all the way up to Main Engine Cutoff. That's all I've got tonight.
All right, Dave, appreciate you sharing that with us. Appreciate your comments and appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is Eric in Arkansas, KJ5NLNI. Good evening to you, Eric. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead. All right, both Eric and you, Jennifer, both of you, if you're still listening, do appreciate you guys checking in tonight. And again, welcome to the Colorado Astronomy Net for both of you out there in Arkansas. Appreciate that. Next on the list is Abraham, WX0. ABE out in Sterling. I know you checked in over on YouTube, but we'll see if you're still here on the air. Go ahead. What have you got for us tonight, Abraham? Go ahead.
Not really anything strong. I think about it. See, I let's try to nothing else to that, but thank you for
All right, Abraham, we caught most of that. Kind of like the signal kind of died down in there, but I think we caught most of it. But I do appreciate your comments and appreciate you checking in tonight. Next on the list is Steve. Let's see, you said you were down in Colorado Springs. KM6VAY, good evening to you, Steve. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Well, Bruce, I was hoping to have a report of the Jovian moons tonight. I'm looking forward to tonight. So warm here in the Colorado Springs. It's like 50 degrees right now. Perfect night. So I figured, what's better than to sit out, stargaze, and listen to the net live for the handheld out here. Sadly, as you know, we're all cloudy right now. So, although I did see 2 Jovian moons, I think last Friday night, and the Saturday coming up is supposed to be another very warm night. But we're cloudy in Colorado Springs, and nothing to report. Thanks for the net, Vernon.
Hey, Stephen, no worries. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be warmer, not quite as warm as it was today, tomorrow, and Thursday. So well, there's always a chance. But definitely appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. This is KI0AR Net Control for Colorado Astronomy Net. Next on the list is Stan up in Ontario. VE3PSE. Good evening to you, Stan. What have you got for the net tonight? Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Bernard. Good evening, everybody on frequency and everybody listening on YouTube. Great bulletin on radio astronomy. That was really enjoyable to listen to and hear that history again on how the radio waves are discovered. It's pretty neat to hear your rendition of that on the net. It's been cold up here, so we've been getting some twinkling stars in the cold weather. This morning it was, where Fahrenheit and Celsius agree that yes, it is very cold. It was minus 40 wind chill factor this morning, and the tea that spilled on the edge of my cup froze pretty fast when I was out walking the dog this morning. But anyways, I posted a link. It has an incredible photo, I think, of a 46-meter dish in Algonquin Park, north of Toronto, not too far from here. I actually visited that radio telescope in the 80s. I had a tour of the facility, and they were mapping hydrogen in the vicinity of the, I can't remember the name of them. It'll come to me. But anyways, they asked me what I thought they were doing, and I thought they were looking for extraterrestrial. But he says, yeah, we do that sometimes, but we're actually mapping Andromeda. That's where they were mapping it. They were mapping hydrogen near the Andromeda when I was there visiting. But the picture shows the dish with its 2 aircraft warning lights and the northern lights in the background. So I thought I'd post that, especially since I was actually planning on posting it, and then when you start talking about radio astronomy, I said I better get on there and post it. But great, Ned, thanks very much for getting me on. Victor Echo 3, Papa Sierra Echo, 5 hours north of Toronto. Back to you, sir. Back to net control.
All right, Stan, appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Yeah, I saw that, and I shared that over on YouTube as well. Now I'm trying to get it over on that page. Where was it? Oh, there we go. Let me do that. I see how that works. I'm going to have to get a little bit more adept at this YouTube posting and stuff. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. Definitely a neat picture there. Appreciate you sharing that with us, Stan. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. This is KI0AR Net Control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. We are at the bottom of the list and the top of the hour. So I'll go ahead and open up the net for anybody else. Questions, comments, late check-ins before I go ahead and wrap up the net for this evening. If you are a late check-in, please call with your call sign phonetically twice. Anybody else? Questions, comments, late check-ins? Before I wrap this up, please call KI0AR now.
Kilo Oscar 4, Kilo Lima November, Kilo Oscar 4, Kilo Lima November, Chuck, and Eastern Alabama.
Hey, good evening to you, Chuck. Let's see. You were new last week, I do believe. What have you got for us tonight? Go ahead, Chuck. KO4KLN.
Late check-in. I missed the earlier program. Sounds like I missed a good one. It's 45 degrees and partly cloudy up in Eastern Alabama. Hopefully I won't miss the next net, so I'll be back on out of here at 7 degrees. Everybody that's still here, and have a good evening, and catch you later.
All right, Chuck, no worries. If you have YouTube, check out tonight's presentation. It was the quest to put a radio telescope on the moon. So a little bit of past history of radio astronomy and what is planned for the future. 2027. Putting a radio telescope on the dark side of the moon, or at least the back side of the moon. A rather lengthy presentation. It's actually an article from the IEEE Spectrum magazine for February of this month, or February of this year. Sorry about that. But you can certainly check out the Colorado Astronomy Net presentation for tonight's net over on YouTube. That'll be finalized soon after I check out for this evening. So definitely check that out. And that goes for anybody else. So definitely check that out. And you can always give a belated thumbs up over there as well. So I think you can do that. But for sure. And subscribe if you don't, if you wish, that's for sure. All right, Chuck, appreciate your comments. Appreciate you checking in tonight. Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments, late check-ins before I go ahead and wrap up the net for this evening? Please call KI0AR now. Okay, nothing heard. This is KI0AR net control for the Colorado Astronomy Net. I'm going to go ahead and close the net for this evening. I'd like to thank the 25 check-ins for checking in tonight, and everybody else that was listening over on YouTube as well. Appreciate that. Hopefully we'll hear from everybody next Tuesday for another session of the Colorado Astronomy Net at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 0200 Zulu Wednesday, for another session of the Colorado Astronomy Net. I'd like to thank the Rocky Mountain Radio League for the use of their repeater system. I'd like to thank the Sky Hub Link group for the use of their system and all the ways that you guys can connect into the net tonight. skyhublink.com, for many other ways that you may want to check into the system as well. It's open to all amateur radio operators 24/7 for sure. So do appreciate that. With that, I will say 73 and keep looking up. This is KI0AR. I'm clear.